I see a bit better maybe. Looks like she might have found a patch to relax in for the day. Nice thick shade. You going? Is it? But you can pull in front here. You can see a little bit of her head. Stick your nose in there. If she moves, I'll call you.
Go, Leopard. Go.
Just look at her. Very difficult to see. I think we've managed to find ourselves a tiny little gap here. Such a beautiful cat. Now most of the day they actually spend doing pretty much this, not much. Leopard are mostly active at night, or sort of crepuscular time as well. Very, very active around sunset and sunrise times. Today, early morning was nice and cool. We started off wearing jackets, but the sun is coming through very nice and warm now. I think today is going to be quite hot later on. Move about another 2 feet or so. Even more asleep. Looked like she's going to rush anywhere this morning. That's why we give her a few more minutes, see if she maybe gets more active. But some interesting news from the north. They found the Kohuma females this morning. Again, quite far away from anywhere close to where we could get, but up in sort of northeastern parts of Buffelshoek. They've got 13 young ones with them, so that's the most sort of comprehensive or reliable count I've heard. So 13 of them still surviving. And that's still a story in waiting. There's definitely still a few sequels remaining in the stories of the Kohumas and their youngsters. The Mapochos haven't been that far up north for a while, the male lions. And those females have done a very good job of sort of as much as they can avoiding those males. As much as I'd like to pretend otherwise, I'm still convinced at some stage or another all those cubs will go. My porkers will not tolerate them once they move in here more assertively.
We have a question from Tom regarding Karula's cubs. We'd like to know how old are they getting and how much longer will they stay with Karula?
Thank you, Ailey. Tom, I might not have the exact age at the moment, but they should be just about over a year old now. I'm trying to think, a little bit over a year, a couple of months over a year old. And as far as we know, they're still alive and well. We haven't seen them in ages, but they'll stick with the mother normally until about 2 years old. A little bit younger sometimes, but roughly about 2 years old, and then at some stage just before that she'll go into estrus again and she'll mate, and then that's about the time when they become independent. So the age that they're at now is actually a very exciting time if you do have them around, because they're big enough that they know their way around the bush now. They're not great hunters yet, they still need to learn, but they know what to avoid and not to mess with elephant and to be up in the tree if there's lions or hyenas around. So Karula can afford more and more to leave them on their own. But what also happens, obviously when they were younger she also left them on their own, but now that they're a bit older and more streetwise, I guess, is that quite often they'll be left in more open places. I remember a couple of years ago, early 2000s, when I was working, a safari female used to leave her cubs all the time at waterholes, Treehouse Dam, Gowrie Waterhole, and you'd have them there for 3, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days even, playing around and stalking birds and exploring. So hopefully some stage quite soon they'll be back this side, Western Gowrie area, and then we will get some spectacular viewing from them. Bit of a long answer, Tom, but yeah, they're just over a year old, and they should stick around with her for another sort of 6 months to a year. I still remember the first time I saw leopard down here in Sabi Sands, or at Juma actually. A friend of mine was working here. I came to visit, and he told me about how amazing the leopards were. I'd worked in other reserves, but nowhere that you get this kind of viewing. And as luck would have it, we came out for a couple of days and saw amazing things. I saw lions, the Skutani pride, another pride that lived to the east, take down a young buffalo. I saw herds of 500-600 buffalo. Amazing wildlife. We didn't see a leopard. And the last morning, just before I had to catch an airplane out, the guys found a leopard at about 10 o'clock, and I had to be at the airstrip at about 11:30 or something. Raced out, and Steve showed me this big male leopard called Shivati. And he was doing pretty much what Karula is doing now, not much. But we got very, very close, the same as now. And I remember how just that spun my mind. It was just amazing that they're so relaxed. Then of course, of those of you that join us often on drive have seen over time, we see some incredible leopard here, up in trees, on carcasses, playing around, walking right past the vehicle, shaking their heads. You do see some amazing leopard behavior. Beautiful cats. I think we might have to move on soon. She's not going to go anywhere. It's nice and hot now. It's probably getting close to 30 degrees already. And I think she's just going to take it easy in the shade here. Just want to see if any other game drives on their way. Stations, this Ingwe still Lalapan. Is there anyone else on their way? Any other stations responding for Karula? Yeah, if I'm a little bit, maybe 40-50 meters in, I'll put a Slasla there when I go out, but it's Makulu Slatinia.
Okay, no worries.
Kom eens in Efram.
Okay.